This video is going to be on department category and vendor maintenance in version 5.0 of ThunderPOS. Um, we're going to just start with departments. To get to this, if you're on the home screen after logging in, you just go to Store, and then departments, categories, and vendors are right next to each other. They're all pretty similar, so we're going to go through them all together. You'll want to add, especially departments and categories, before you start adding items in order to allow you to set up items more efficiently. Um, Departments and categories essentially function identically. You have a list of them, and you can set them on items. They're used for searching, they're used for grouping, on reports, that kind of thing. They do not have to be related to each other. In some of our stores, the categories are sub-departments in the sense that, each department has categories that belong specifically to it. But that is not true for the majority of our stores. For example, for our game stores, the departments are frequently things like consoles or games or strategy guides, and the categories are frequently things like Nintendo or Xbox One or PlayStation 4. Um, Similarly, for our bookstores and our record stores, the departments are frequently formats such as CD or vinyl for a record store, or hardcover or paperback or trade paperback for a bookstore. Um, and then the categories are frequently genres such as rock or jazz or Bibles or nonfiction. Um, so once we go in here, so I'm in the department management now, you can add a new one. You'll notice there are three there now. Those are the system ones. You cannot get rid of these or edit them. Um, but 0 is the none, which is kind of where items go if you don't put any other department on them. GC is gift cards, and SO-PRO is special orders and pre-order deposits. Um, so to add, there's only two things you need for departments, and it's true for categories as well. You need an ID, which is up to 8 letters or numbers, and you need a name, which can be a much longer description. And there's an option, and I'll show you it elsewhere in these videos, to display your departments and categories either by the ID or the name. Now, the name doesn't have to be unique, um, but whenever you're doing searches, whenever you're adding a new item, you can have it show by the long name in most cases. The only exceptions are places where we need to be 100% sure we're showing you the right one. So, for example, the item lookup grid, it will always show by the short ID because it needs to be unique and the name doesn't have to be. So in this case, we're going to just add some kind of pretty generic departments. So we're going to add a drinks department, and we'll say soft drinks and bottled. Well, as you can see, there is a limit to how long the name can be. It is about 15 characters, I believe. So we'll say just soft drinks. And then we'll add a chips department, and it'll be potato chips. So some pretty generic departments here. Um, in the event that we wanted to get rid of one of these, we would actually have to merge it into something else. So, for example, we could merge from chips into drinks, or we can merge it into the none department. And what this merge does, in addition to deleting the chips department, it just means all of the items that were in it are going to have to go somewhere, so they get moved into drinks. So this works the same for both departments and categories. So once we do that, we'll see that chips is gone. And had we had any items in chips, they would now be in the drinks department. So very similarly under categories, if we add a couple here, we'll just add, um, snacks, and then we will add a um, meals category. These are obviously not real categories, they're just mostly for demonstration purposes. You can see that the name can be the same as the ID, and frequently for some they are. Um, because there are things that are just shorter names. So in this case, you can also edit it. So we can say, for example, meals, hot meals here instead. Um, now, uh, very similarly, we can merge. If we merge from snacks into meals, snacks will go away, anything will get moved over. Very simple, um, but it's probably the first thing you should do after starting the system before you even start to add items is figure out what departments and categories you want and set them up because it's going to set your baseline for all your items. It's going to help with your process of how you go through and add everything. And it's really critical that you do it in an ordered manner so that you don't miss items or forget things. And you're going to want to set up your categories and departments from the beginning because otherwise you're going to have to go back through and do all of it and touch all of the items you've already added again when you decide you want to set categories and departments. Um, vendors can potentially wait if you are not setting vendors on items. But if you are going to set vendors on items, it's even more critical than categories and departments that you get an early jump. And that can be really useful in a similar way uh, to categories and departments. You can do all kinds of searching by what vendors are set on an item, and you can do purchase orders where things from a specific vendor are below reorder level. We'll just go through and add one right here. We're going to make one up here. So it's going to be vendor ID and company name, and first and last name are the required fields on this. The rest of these are optional fields. But we're just going to set up vendor ID number one. It's going to be Extreme POS, and it's going to be my name, Jeremy Spencer. And then we're just going to leave the rest of this blank. We could fill it out. You don't have to. It's totally fine if you choose not to fill those out. And then you'll notice we cannot merge these. In the event that you can set up to 3 vendors per item. It's not like departments and categories where you have one in exactly one department and category for every item. You don't have to set a vendor on anything. And if you do set a vendor, then you don't have to move it to anywhere, so it's not the same sort of deal. But yeah, this is really the section to start with when you're first using the software. If you're just trying it out as a demo, you're okay to maybe add some items and play with the register first. But when you're ready with your live store database, this is really where we recommend starting out.